Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today's assembly is about fire safety. Now, fire is something which can benefit us if we use it properly. For example, when we are cold, we can switch on the gas fire and we can get warmth from it. When we are hungry, we can use the gas fire to light up the cooker and we can cook on it. So fire is something which we can get some benefit from. But at the same time, a fire can be unpredictable. And eventually, if it is not controlled, it can grow and grow and grow. And fire is so powerful that it can even burn down entire buildings. The reason why we are talking about fire safety today is because we as a madrasa have an obligation, a duty of care to care for the safety of each and every single one of our students. So, keeping this safety in mind, we will be educating the students here at Islamic Center Scotstoun Madrasa on how to evacuate the madrasa building in the event of a fire. Now you can see here on the screen it says fire drill. Now a fire drill is basically a practice or a training session in which we leave the building pretending like a real fire was happening and we leave the building. So what it does is we are actually training ourselves how to leave the building safely in the event of a real fire. And it says how to evacuate. Evacuate is when you get absolutely everybody in the building out of that burning building. So evacuate is where you get everybody out. So this can be the teachers, the students, everybody in the office, anybody in the bathroom, anybody in the wudu khana, anybody in the kitchen, anybody who is in that masjid, in the prayer hall, anybody. Everybody in the event of a real fire evacuates the building to keep safe and to get out of the burning building to safety. So this is what a fire drill is, and that is what evacuate means. Now, here in the madrasa, from February, which is this month, until the end of the academic year, which is June, from February until June, we will be having a total of 3 fire drills. Now, this fire drill, we will be having 1 fire drill this month. We will be having 1 fire drill next month in March, and we will be having 1 fire drill and a practice in May. Now, the reason why we will be having 3 is because it is very new to everybody, and the very first time that we practice it, not everybody will do very well in the first go. So we have to repeat it again next month. Now, bear in mind, we have 10 classes in the madrasa. We have 5 boys classes and we have 5 girls classes. So what we will be doing in the first 2 fire drills, this month and next month, the boys will be evacuating on one day and the girls will be evacuating on a separate day. The reason for this is simply just to get everybody used to how a fire drill happens. And when the numbers are small, it is easier for us as teachers to manage it. So, inshallah, we will be having a fire drill for the girls on Thursday, this Thursday, 23rd of February, and we will be having the boys' fire drill the very next day on Friday, the 24th of February. Now, what you can expect on the day of the fire drill is normal day, you come normally at 5 o'clock, and then we will be having our Maghrib prayer around about 5:45. And after the Maghrib prayer, shortly afterwards, I will be announcing on the microphone that today is the girls' fire drill or today is the boys' fire drill. And then I will remind everybody who is part of the fire drill. If it is the girls, we will be telling them to get their jackets on and their socks on. And in the next couple of minutes, the fire alarm will go off. When the fire alarm goes off and the day of the fire drill is just for the girls, then it will only be the girls leaving the building, and the boys will continue on with their learning. Similarly, when it is the boys' fire drill and the alarm goes off, only the boys will evacuate and the girls will continue their learning. Now, just a few minutes before the alarm goes off, we are intending to put the alarm on and evacuate everybody out of the building around about 6:15, because this is after the Maghrib prayer and it gives us a little bit of time to prepare ourselves. And it is enough time for us to get back into the building before home time. So the very first thing that will happen on the day is I will announce on the microphone the instructions that which fire drill it is. Is it for the boys? Is it for the girls? In the next couple of minutes, the fire alarm will be going off. Please put your jackets on, your socks on. As soon as you hear the fire alarm, stay calm. You don't need to panic. You don't need to start going into a frenzy. Stay calm, very calm. Follow the instruction of your teacher, and they will lead you out of the building. Now, on the day of the girls' fire drill, we will be evacuating the building from the car park entrance. So the way that the girls come in from the car park, that is the exit that we will be using. And we will be assembling at the back of the car park. So in a fire drill, you have something called an assembly point. You must go to this assembly point, which is far away from the burning building, and you gather there in a safe spot. Because the G5 class is the closest to the exit, we will get the G5 girls out first, then we will get the G4 girls, then the G3 girls, then the G2 girls, and the G1 girls. This is the order in which we will evacuate the classes. At all times, follow the instruction of your teacher, stay in a single file, and remain calm. On the day of the boys' fire drill, downstairs class, the B3 is the closest to the car park exit. So the boys on their fire drill day will be exiting from the car park entrance. So on the boys' fire drill day, we will be requesting the boys to put your shoes at the girls' entrance. So normally we bring the shoes in and we have it in the area next to the wudu, in front of the wudu khana, in front of the wudu area. But for that day only, we will request you to put your shoes on the girls' entrance, so that when you are leaving for the fire drill, it is easy for you to take the shoes and go out of the building. So because the B3 class is the closest to that exit, we will ask the B3 class to leave first, and then the B2 class, and then the B1 class. Then we have two classes upstairs. We have the B4 class and the B5 class. So we want the B4 class to go next, and the last class will be the B5 class leaving. Bear in mind again, at all times remain calm, follow the instruction of your teacher, stay in a single file, and we will walk out of the building. So just a couple of important points to go through. Number one, you can see here, stay calm when you hear the fire alarm. Do not start shouting, "Oh no, there's a fire," and be all sarcastic about it. Anybody who disrupts the drill and who misbehaves purposely will be suspended from the madrasa. You will get an automatic suspension. The next day, you will not come back to the madrasa. You will be staying at home for at least a week, simply because you refused to behave on the day of the fire drill. So please, at all times, remain in good behavior. Second thing, you don't need to tidy up your classroom. You don't need to start packing up your bags or start putting away your water bottles or start closing your books. You don't need to do any of that. Just get up straight away and start forming the single file line. On the day, no student will be permitted to attend the bathroom from 5:30 onwards. Now, I will just clarify here, 5:30, we can change this now, and we won't let any student go to the toilet after the Maghrib prayer. So after Maghrib prayer, no student should be going to the toilet. Now ignore this 5:30 instruction, and after the Maghrib prayer, no teacher should allow any student to go to the bathroom if it is their fire drill, simply because we don't want the added headache of checking the toilets and making sure that every student is out of there. The next thing is leave your belongings. You don't need to take your bag with you. You don't need to take any of that with you. Like I mentioned on the microphone, I will announce to keep your jacket on and your socks on, to get them on, because you will be going outside and we don't want you catching a cold. At all times, follow your teacher's instructions. Quietly line up, move quietly and quickly outside. So you don't want to walk so slow that in the event of a real fire, everybody was getting held up because of you. You want to move with everybody else. You want to move quickly and quietly. At all times you walk, you don't run, and you never push anybody and you never shove anybody. If there is a queue in front of you, you must remain patient. If there is a big queue and you remain patient, then everybody will get out safely. But if you panic and start pushing and shoving and somebody falls over, then it can become a problem for everybody. Be patient when you are putting your shoes on. So when the students are putting the shoes on, and if some student is taking far too long, don't rush them and don't hurry them. Just let them put their shoes on and get out of the building. Remain with your class at all times. Don't mix with other classes. Stay with your class and with your teacher at all times. When we get to the assembly point, the register will be taken there. So the teacher will know which students were in the class beforehand, and we must account for every single student when we are at the assembly point. So the register will be taken to make sure that all the students that were in the class are now outside. So we don't want any students remaining behind. This is why we don't want you going to the bathroom after Maghrib. The classes, once the register is taken and we have safely gathered at the assembly point, we will be brought back into class. Once you are back in class, the teaching will resume. It will carry on. And those students whose fire drill it was not, and they stayed inside, the whole time since after the fire alarm went off, that is it. You stay in class and you are learning as normal. And the last point here, just a reminder, that any student misbehaving on purpose will be suspended from the madrasa for a minimum of a week. So please be on your best behavior. Next, you can see here, there is a fire escape route. Now, the very first thing I want you to look at is the right side where it says downstairs. Now, I want you to look at this. This is a blueprint type blueprint where it shows you the layout of the entire masjid. Now, you can see here the G1, 2, 3, and 5 classroom. It shows they are exiting from the shoe area and then going to the assembly point at the back of the car park. But it shows the B3 class, B2 class, and B1 class coming out from the different entrance, which is the entrance at the front of the masjid, and then their assembly point is under the bridge. Now, this fire escape route is the one that will take place on May. For the time being, on this fire drill, which will take place on this Friday, we want all of the students, all of them, to use the car park assembly point. We don't want any students gathering under the bridge. That is why we're doing it on separate days. So we will have on one day, all of the girls' classes, they will gather at the assembly point in the car park. And on Friday, all of the boys' classes will gather at the assembly point in the car park. Now, in May, when we do it all together, when everybody is going to leave the building at the same time, all of the girls will go to the assembly point in the car park, and all of the boys will take a different exit, and they will gather under the bridge outside of the masjid. So that will happen in May. That will not happen this Friday. Next, I want you to look at the upstairs diagram on the left side, and it shows the B4 and B5 classroom at the back of the hall. So their escape route is you come out from the main entrance of the masjid and you go down the stairs and you take your shoes and you go to the back exit of the masjid where the car park is. Now, on the day, B4 and B5 students can actually leave their shoes where they normally leave them, because you will be coming down the stairs, so you will be able to take your shoes at the bottom of the stairs and then walk down the corridor and out of the back of the masjid into the car park. So B4 and B5 classes only can leave their shoes where they normally put them. But B1, 2, and 3, don't worry, we will be there on the day and we will remind you to put your shoes on the other side. Next, I want you to look at these diagrams, and everywhere you see a red square, that is where the fire extinguisher is. So that is where the fire extinguisher is located. So in the event of a real fire, a person would take a fire extinguisher, and if it was small, they would try and tackle the fire themselves if they had the training and the fire was small and it was easily controlled. Again, look at the diagram, and everywhere you see a blue triangle, that is where the fire alarm button is. If that button is pressed, then the fire alarm will go off. Looking at this assembly point guide, this is a image of the masjid building. So if you look at the picture, it says masjid building right at the top. It says masjid building. That white building is the masjid. Now the orange line which is the boundary of the car park. Now what will happen here is you will leave the masjid building and you will walk all the way to the back of the car park. And at the back of the car park is where we will all assemble. That is our assembly point. Now, at the back of the car park, you will see these signs. It is the fire assembly point. So, where you see these signs, that is where you're going to gather. Now, at the assembly point, you will see the metal fence. You're going to be standing directly under the metal fence. Now, the way that we want you to line up at the assembly point is class by class. So there will be one line of the B5 students, one line of the B4 students, one line of the B3 students, one line of the B2 students, and one line of the B1 students. Always stay in a single file line and in a straight line. If you remain in that line, then it is very easy for the teacher to control all students, and it's easy for them to quickly take register. But if there is one student even not participating properly and misbehaving, then it makes the entire drill very difficult. Now the same goes for when the girls are lining up. We want one line of the G5 students, one line of the G4 students, one line of G3 students, one line of G2 students, and one line of G1 students. And right at the front of the line, we want the teacher standing there at all times. The teacher will be standing there and they will take the register. Once we are happy that we have safely got everybody out of the building and we have accounted for all of the students, we will head back into the masjid class by class. You will put your shoes off and you will go back to class and you will continue learning. Bear in mind, this is all just a practice. It is a practice just in case a real fire was to ever happen within the building. Now, our aim is to get absolutely everybody out of the building. We must get out of the building within a time limit of 5 minutes. This ensures that we're getting everybody out. Now, in the event of a real fire, you can't control the situation. You won't be able to keep students out of the toilet, and you won't be able to know who is upstairs and who is in the library and who is in the offices and if there's anybody in the kitchen. This is why in the event of a real fire, the evacuation process has to be very fast. You have to be able to check absolutely every inch of that building to make sure everybody is out. Allah forbid, let's say we have everybody out, but one person gets stuck inside, then that is not a successful evacuation because one life is more important. One life is more important than the entire world. It is when one person is lost, then it is as if we have lost the entire world. We must account for every single person and every single body. So, in the event of a real fire, everybody would panic and, the simple things would become very difficult. People would be pushing and shoving and trying to get out of the building, and they will be causing a distress to everybody. So, this is why we do fire drills so that everybody learns how to stay calm. Allah forbid there was ever a real fire. If we practiced enough, then there is a high chance, inshallah, that we would get everybody out of the building safely. And then we would call the fire brigade and they would come and do their job of trying to put out the fire. And this means that us, because we kept on practicing the fire drill, it means that inshallah we would have got everybody out. So just to clarify again, the fire drill will be happening on Thursday for the girls and Friday for the boys. We will all be using the assembly point of the car park for this fire drill and the next fire drill. And the only fire drill when the boys will gather underneath the bridge is the one in May. So we want everybody out. At all times, stay with your teacher. Follow the instructions of your teacher. Remain calm. Anybody misbehaving will have severe disciplinary action against them and they will be suspended. And remember, after Maghrib, you will not be able to go to the bathroom. Keep your jackets on and socks on. Be patient when putting on your shoes. Now, when you are outside, we will take the register as quickly as possible so that we can get back inside and continue learning as soon as possible. But first of all, we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He saves the building from ever catching fire. May we never have to put this drill into real practice. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect this building and everybody within it from a real life fire. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from the worldly fire and also to protect all of us from the eternal burning fire, which is the fire of Jahannam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us all from that. So, inshallah, this Thursday and Friday, we will be having our very first assembly fire drill. We make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He makes it a success. Hopefully this video has explained the whole process of the fire drill and any other questions that you may have regarding the fire drill. As soon as your teacher deems it appropriate, then they will be explained. Then you can ask them the question, and they will be happy to answer your questions. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.